Good afternoon, teacher. My name is Rafael. I'm a student. I studying to be an English teacher. I studying at UTPL University. In today's lesson, I'm gonna teach you about conditionals. This is zero and first conditionals. So now I think it's very important to mention all activities and strategies that I'm gonna use for this lesson. So I'm gonna use some strategies like students thinking time, cooperative learning, and task-based teaching. And some methodologies that I'm gonna use in this class is grammar, translation method, the audio lingual method, and structural approach. So now I'm going to tell the activities that I'm going to perform. So the first activity that I'm going to do in this lesson, it is a warm-up activity in which I'm going to tell my students some sentence using zero and first conditional. For example, I'm gonna say it. I happy if I have a lot of money. My mother is glad if she is healthy. So, students must identify what conditional I using. So now students are going to perform another activities. Students work individually, in pairs, in groups of 4 students. For example, when students work individually, they are going to solve a quiz. When students work in pairs, they are going to share their point of view about some flashcards that I'm gonna show them. When students work in groups of 4 students, they are going to develop some exercises using our worksheets. Why they are going to work in groups of 4 people? Well, this is a strategy of collaborative learning, and those exercises that they are going to find the worksheets are very difficult. That's the reason, because they work in groups of 4 students. So now I think it is very important to mention the material didactics that I'm gonna use for this class. So I'm gonna use only 2 material didactics in this class. I'm gonna use flashcards. This is the flash card that I'm gonna use for this lesson. I'm gonna put this on the board in order that you can look then. I'm gonna work with this worksheet with my students. I have another worksheets, but my board is very small and I can't put all the flashcards here. Why I'm gonna use this kind of materials for my class? Well, the reason is that worksheets are helpful materials that help students to understand much better a topic. It is because students can associate or relate the topic with the images or photos that they can see in the flashcards. Yes? Now I'm gonna show you another supplementary material or didactic material. These are wordships. Here I have wordships. The first is this a serial conditional. The second is the first conditional. Here students have to join and have to complete. Why am I gonna use this kind of material for this lesson? Well, worksheets are interesting materials that help the teacher to evaluate students' understanding and provide feedback to the students. So, I think it's very important to mention all other materials I'm gonna use in this lesson. As you can hear, I have some markers, I have a board. Why I'm gonna use this kind of materials? Because as you can hear, I need to perform a methodology. This is a structural approach or audiolingual method in which I have to explain the grammar rules, how to form the zero and first conditional. And so it's very important that you use markers and a board. So now I'm gonna tell you the positives aspects or the positive points in my lesson plan. So I think all the strategies, methodologies, and activities that I have planned for the lessons are very important because they help the students to learn a second language in interesting way and avoid the students feel boring in class. So now I'm going to answer one question. As you said, what are the negative aspects of my lesson plan? Well, I don't think that my lesson plan I have my lesson plan here have negative aspects. As you can hear, I have interesting material like flashcards, worksheets, which are very helpful for me to evaluate, to motivate students. So I can say that my lesson plan have negative aspects and negative points. Also, I was forget to show you an interesting material. This is a copy from the textbook of Ministry of Education of Ecuador. We can find this page on 39. Here students have to complete the exercise using first conditional and second conditional. I choose this kind of material because those type of exercises help students to improve their abilities of thinking. So, and finally, I'm gonna answer one question. This is, what things would you change in my lesson plan? Well, I don't want to change any things in my lesson plan because as you can hear, all the materials are very necessary to teach a second language. The only thing I can say that I could add some audio and visual materials in the next class because it helps students to motivate, and those types of materials help students to learn in a easy and interesting way. So that's all I can tell you about. Thank you so much for your attendance.